Today's notes are all about what's called unit rates. Now, before we dive into this, it's important to make sure that you're ready. So the first thing to do is find this page of notes. If you don't have it on paper, you can print it or just open up your notebook and pause this video and copy down the information that you see. I'm actually going to use a little black pen just so it shows up a little better on our video. I'm also going to grab a couple of colors, so make sure you have some colored pencils. If you really want to match my colors, I'm going to use a green or a blue today. So pause this video, make sure you're ready with your notes, any pencils or colored pencils that you might need. Okay, let's dive in now that we're all ready and prepared. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that we can see our notes a little bit closer. Okay, so today we're going to talk about unit rates. Now, a rate is a relationship between two different types of quantities. For example, miles and hours, dollars and ounces. So we know from just being a part of the real world that sometimes we relate things. Like we know that certain cars drive a particular amount of miles in a particular amount of hours. Or when we go to a store, it costs a certain amount of dollars to purchase a certain amount of ounces of maybe something like juice. So those are called rates. Now I'm going to grab one of my colors. For me, it's going to be green, and I'm just going to mark this up a little bit. I'm going to underline rate. I'm going to underline relationship between two different types of quantities. Okay. I also really love examples, so I'm just going to put a little cloud shape around these examples. My brain really likes examples better than it likes some words. Okay. Now, today we are going to do what's called unit rates. So let's learn about unit rates. I'm going to use blue for this in a moment. It says a unit rate is a relationship when one of the units is 1. For example, miles per hour. That means miles in 1 hour. Or dollars per ounce. Or how many dollars does it cost for 1 ounce? So let me grab my blue and underline unit rate. And that is relationship when one of the units is 1. Now I'm going to put a little cloud around my examples again. And off to the side, I want us to jot down that the word per equals 1. Anytime in life when we read the word per, it's talking about one something. Okay, so if I ask you the dollars per ounce of juice, how many dollars does just 1 ounce of juice cost? Per means 1. So here's some real life connections. Hopefully these are things that make sense to your brain. So the first one is grocery stores often include unit rates on their price tags to help you find the best buy. Unit rates help you compare which brands are cheaper than others. So I'm going to take my regular pencil and I'm just going to put an arrow here with a smiley face because I've seen these price tags. They're usually orange or yellow, a color that stands out to your eyes. So if something on the shelf costs $3.60, they often do this math for us. So they have figured out that that's $1.80 per kilogram. So that's how they're measuring the amount of product. So $3.60 is for the whole package. But if I just brought it down to a unit rate or 1 kilogram, it's only $1.80. And what I can do is I can look at this unit price for 1 kilogram and I can compare that to some of the other shelf items and see which one's actually cheaper. So unit prices are things that really help us in real life. So what we're going to do is we're going to use these 3 real life examples to fill out our notes. So these are rates that we might see in real life. And what we're going to do is we're going to convert them or change them and how they look down to a unit rate or a rate for just one item. So let's look at oranges first. It says oranges, 1 dozen for $3.60. So over here for oranges, we're going to copy down what we read. I'm going to use my regular pencil and I'm just going to write at the top $3.60. And 1 dozen I know is 12 oranges. So all I've done is I've set up my rate or my relationship. I have the price on top and the number of oranges on the bottom. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a conversion. We are going to convert or change that to be the price for just 1 orange. Remember, per means 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy what I've already written. $3.60 goes up top and 12 oranges goes on the bottom. All I did was copy it. Now I want to put an equal sign and I want to put another fraction line. We're going to set up another rate that's equivalent. Now, I know it's going to be money on top, but I don't know how much. We want to boil it down to just 1 orange. Because if you remember, a unit rate is when one of my units is 1. I want to know the price for just 1 orange. Maybe I don't want the whole bag. I just want 1. Now I'm going to ask you to pick a color. I'm going to use green just because it's the one that I grabbed. And what we're going to do is we're going to use our arrow method. So if you remember when we set up equivalent ratios, it's the same thing for rates. Let's draw an arrow from this price over here to our mystery price. And then we're going to draw an arrow from the 12 down to the 1. All we need to do is discover what math fact gets us from 12 to 1, and we do that same math fact to the price on top. So to get from 12 down to 1 using a math fact, we divided by 12. So let's do the same thing on the top. We're going to take $3.60 and we're going to divide that by 12 because what we're doing is we're taking that price and dividing it by 12 oranges to figure out how much each one costs. Now, off to the side, I need to show this work. So I'm going to set up my division problem. $3.60 divided by 12. Before I get started, I'm going to move my decimal up just so it's ready in my answer. I'm also going to get my dollar sign ready in my answer. So how many 12s go into 3? Well, none. So I'm just going to put it a 0. Now I'm expanding my thinking. How many 12s go into 36? I know that it's 3. 3 times 12 is 36. And when I subtract, I got no leftovers. I still have another step though. We're going to bring down this 0 because I need to fill up this seat as well. How many 12s go into 0? That's easy. 0. 12 times 0 is 0, and there's still no leftovers. So the answer that I got, taking my price and dividing by 12, it gave me an answer of 30 cents, or $0.30. So what I've done is I've set up 2 rates. I have found the math fact that got me from 12 oranges to 1 orange, and I did the same thing to the price, and I found that it cost 30 cents per orange. So I'm going to write my answer over here, $0.30 per orange. And remember, per means 1. Let's try this same concept with the water bottle problem. I'm going to go back to my regular pencil. And I'm going to jot down what I know about water bottles. So up here it says 24 bottles of spring water for $3.60. Interesting. It's the same price as the oranges, but I get 24 bottles of water. So over here, let's write the price on top, $3.60. And I got 24 bottles. Now, if you remember, to convert that or change it, we're going to write what we know first. So again, $3.60 up top, 24 bottles on the bottom. Now let's get our equal sign ready. Now we don't want 24 water bottles, we just want 1 bottle. So on the bottom, I'm going to get 1 bottle ready. I'm going to grab a color. In this case, I'll try the blue. I want to get from $3.60 over to my mystery price. So I'm going to draw my arrow. Then that means I go from 24 bottles down to 1. In this case, I must have divided by 24. So let's do the same thing to the top. $3.60 divided by 24. I have no idea what this is, so I'm going to set up my division. $3.60 inside the box, 24 outside. I get my decimal and my dollar sign ready. Let's dive into the math. How many 24s go into 3? Well, that's easy. None of them. Let's expand our thinking to the 36. How many 24s go into 36? I think it's only 1. 1 times 24 is 24. Let's subtract and see what our remainder is. 6 minus 4 is 2, and 3 minus 2 is 12. Okay, let's bring down our 0 and do our final step. How many 24s go into 120? I'm going to pick a number, and if I'm not sure what to do, I always just start with a 5 fact. So let's try 24 times 5. And let's see how close we get. I always like to do 5 because if it's too small or too big, I can go up or down. 5 is right in the middle, which is a good place to start. Okay, 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. Oh, look at that. I got there perfectly in 1 step. So we found the answer was 5. That got me to 120, and when I subtracted, there was no leftovers. So I got an answer of 15 cents. So I'm going to write that up here, $0.15. That means that it was 15 cents per bottle, and remember, per meant 1. Let's try our final real-life example. Up here it says, Sally ran 90 miles in 15 hours. Now, I'm willing to bet she probably didn't run all of this at the same time, but we're still going to figure out what her unit rate is. What is her amount of miles for just 1 hour if we convert it? So let's set this one up with our pencil. We know 90 miles in 15 hours. Let's set that up again, 90. I'm going to use MI for miles if that's okay. 15, I'm going to put HR for hours if that works for you. Now I want to set up my equivalent rate. I'm still going to have miles up top and hours down below. Now, we don't want to keep it at 15 hours. If you look at our answer, we have the word per, which means 1 hour. So over here, let's make that 1 hour on the bottom. I'm going to grab my green, and once again, I'm going to use the arrow method. I want to get from 90 miles to this mystery amount of miles. So I'm going to go from 15 hours down to 1. Math fact. Let's divide. We must have divided by 15. So I'm going to do the same thing to the top. 90 divided by 15. Some people know this, but if you don't, you can set up your division and you can try some numbers. So remember, if I have no idea what to do, I always do a 5 fact. So let's try 15 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 1 plus 2 is 7. Ooh, 75, pretty close. Let's try another one. Let's do 15 times 6 and see if that works better. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 1 plus 3 is 9. It worked perfectly. So we got a 6. Gave us 90, no leftovers. So my answer up top was 6 miles. So she runs 6 miles in 1 hour. So my answer is 6 miles per, because per means 1 hour. Feel free to pause and rewind this, slow this down, even watch it again if you have to. Really, our job here is to find our unit rates by converting or simplifying down to just one item. And I always like to have the one item on the bottom, but even if you set these up with them flip-flopped, you can still arrive at the same answer I did. Good luck on today's assignment. I can't wait to see what your notes look like.